If everybody's ready, why don't we have your opening statement for the state, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Please report. Good morning. I didn't have a chance to say much today. My name is David Engler, Judge of the District of the Circuit, your neighboring district here at Contact. The purpose of the statement is simple. I'm just going to simply tell you our case we'll present today. You're the trial fact. That means you're going to hear all of the evidence presented by the state and the evidence presented by the defense. You are the judge of the witness's credibility. You determine if they're credible or not. I expect that you're going to hear evidence from the state in the form of testimonial evidence. You're going to hear from law enforcement officers from Tippah County. You're going to hear testimony from Smith County, Virginia sheriff's deputies that work on this case. You're going to see physical evidence. You're going to see phone dumps. You're going to see other documents and other physical evidence in this case. And based on all the evidence, you deliberate to take all that into consideration and apply to the law as the judge will instruct you to get in the case. First question is, who is Kirby Carpenter? That's why we're here. He died on November 30th of 2022. He was the father of 2 children, Towns and Enola. He was a son to Maddie Jane and Jerry. He was a brother to 2 sisters, Casey and Wendy, and a brother to 3 other brothers. He was a Marine Corps veteran. He was a musician, an outdoorsman, an entrepreneur, a business owner. He owned a company called Mississippi Gold, Silver, and Coin Exchange in Ripley. I think the testimony is going to be that he was a self-made man, and by all accounts, he was financially successful. He was only 36 years old when he died. Kirby was gunned down with a shotgun in his carport at his home on County Road 600 in Tippah County on November 30th of 2022, approximately 7 p.m. He suffered wounds to his neck and chest. The physical evidence will show that his body, after he was shot, was dragged from the carport to the side of the house, at which time a curtain or a tarp was placed over him, secured by a toolbox out of a pickup truck. We will prove that the person responsible for this murder is Jeff Spence, the man sitting right over there. What was his motive? It's an old story. Money, greed. Now, Caitlin Spence is the daughter of Jeff and Karen Spence. She moved to Mississippi to attend Mississippi State University, and when that ended, she moved to Boonville to work at Tractor Supply. Kirby owned a liquor store in Boonville that was close in proximity to Tractor Supply, and they met and started a relationship. They moved in together. In 2021, Caitlin became pregnant with Enola. She was born in July of 2022. I believe the evidence would show that Caitlin's parents, Jeff and Karen, came to Mississippi to help with Enola in July of 2022. The Spences lived in a little town called Saltville, Virginia, which is in southwest Virginia. Now, throughout this case, I want you to pay attention to the timeline. The timeline is critical in this case. The families spent Thanksgiving together in 2022. The evidence will show that the Spences, Jeff and Karen, left on November 29th, early in the afternoon, one day before Kirby's murder. On November 30th, Caitlin got up early to go to work. Kirby was still asleep in bed. Caitlin got up and she drove her daughter Enola to her friend Bailey Reese's house in Boonville for her to keep while Caitlin was at work. And throughout the afternoon, you'll see that Caitlin and Kirby exchanged text messages. Kirby's last text, the last communication from his phone, was at 6:37 p.m. on November 30th. He had been to Kroger in Corinth, and the last text he was passing Gino's tire store in Boonville. Caitlin asked him, where is he? He's at Gino's. He's headed home. It's probably about a 10 to 15 minute drive from Gino's in Boonville to Kirby's home on County Road 600. So he's going to get home about 7 o'clock. And again, critical to this is there are no more communications coming from Kirby after 6:37. You've got people trying to text him. You've got people trying to call him with no response. So he goes dark after 6:37. The remainder of the night, November 30th, Caitlin is texting him, where are you? Apparently they've been in some kind of tiff, argument, weren't getting along, and she's, trying to get him, okay, I'm going to bed. This continues the next day, which is on Thursday, which is December 1st, 30 days in November. Where are you? I need you home, et cetera, et cetera. No response. Again, there's no activity on Kirby's phone. This continues through the 1st and up until 12:30 on the 2nd, which is a Friday. At 12:30, Caitlin discovered Kirby's body underneath the tarp and the toolbox. She was on the phone with Maddie Jane, who is Kirby's mother, and she called 911, and the investigation ensued from that point. When Caitlin arrived home on the night of the 30th, Kirby's truck was in the driveway. It was locked. The groceries he had purchased from Kroger were still in there, but no Kirby. So, according to Karen and Jeff, they came back to Mississippi on Saturday, December 3rd. The funeral was December 17th, 2022, and they went back to Virginia, all three, on December 20th. The investigation by the Tippah County Sheriff's Department showed that the security cameras had been disabled. You'll hear evidence about a satchel of money that Kirby commonly carried around, well known, was missing, and the .22 pistol that he commonly carried in his pocket was also missing. Ironically, 1 year later, November 30th of 2023, the Spences were arrested in Virginia by officers from Smith County. They found keys on Mr. Spence to several lockboxes, storage units, etc. And those lockboxes and storage units were searched pursuant to search warrants. And in those lockboxes, we contend, were items that belonged to Kirby Carpenter. Jeff Spence had the motive. Jeff Spence pulled the trigger. Jeff Spence murdered Kirby Carpenter. His defense is he wasn't there. We will prove otherwise. Thank you.